And now here to discuss the critical role that drones are playing on the battlefield is retired U.S. Navy Captain Yuri Tabach. Hello, and thanks for joining us on Ukraine This Week.
Hello, TVP. Very happy to be with you.
Yes, well, it's great to have you. And actually, this is quite an interesting segment. If we look at all the developments that we've seen come out of Ukraine with drones this week, it really is quite amazing. I think, though, we should start probably with the naval drones and how significant they've been. I mean, I know a lot of this information is secret, just from Ukrainian armed forces themselves, not liking to give up a lot of the secretive details. But I think we can infer that a homegrown Ukrainian naval surface drone has been quite effective on wreaking havoc on the Black Sea fleet. And so now this is something we've really never experienced before. Do you think that Ukraine, with drones alone, is going to be able to destroy another third of the Black Sea fleet?
Well, as a naval officer, I certainly hope so, that they will do that. Definitely the warfare, at least on at sea and in the air, has changed. We see that the Ukrainians are sinking Russian ships with their drones and unmanned vehicles, and we see them shooting down Russian airplanes that are not supposed to be, you know, we were told that they can't be shut down. So we have a war, and we have one side that has no fleet, yet it sunk the fleet of its enemy. We see one side that has no air force in general, and has been able to destroy the air force of the enemy that is pretty advanced. So yes, the warfare has changed, and Ukrainians are very good at improvising. If you don't give them something, or if they don't have something, they will create it. And I've seen many young men, women, older ladies sitting in a type of a garage or a basement and making those things with 3D printers and so forth, making it, I mean, the public. During World War II, my grandmother used to knit mittens and the wool socks for the soldiers at the front. Well, today, those grandmas sitting there and they're knitting with the 3D printers parts for those unmanned vehicles and the weaponry.
Certainly very innovative. Now, we showed this at the beginning of our report. Let's see if we can get this up. This is what people were speculating was a Cessna drone. Let's see if we can get that on there. Hitting an oil refinery in Russia, carrying quite a payload there. I think subsequently it came out that it wasn't quite a Cessna. But could that be the next big idea for Ukrainian armed forces? Like, donate your old aircraft. It only needs to fly one way. And Ukraine can outfit it and make it effective in striking Russian territory.
Well, you know, my beef with my government was that we have so many Humvees that that are out of service already in the United States military, sitting in Europe, and we're not giving them to the Ukrainian forces for some unknown reason. So we, the volunteers, keep buying those old pickup trucks that we call them Bandera mobiles. Yeah. And these boys, you know, put like metal sheets on it, and they advance with them, and they push the Russians. They repel the Russian attacks with them. They improvise very well. So if we give them those old pickup trucks, why not give them old airplanes or old boats that they can convert to the unmanned vehicles that will attack the Russians? And of course, this is a war. In a war, there are always advances. There are always things that brilliant people develop to kill each other, or right. In medicine. There are advances also in medicine, we must say. So yes, this is becoming more and more of a combination of World War I with a trench war and the futuristic war.
21st century. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So it's a combination of those two things, and more those drones are becoming more essential. And many people are talking about the ones that will win this war and advance are the ones that will be able to produce more of those drones and unmanned vehicles that will be operating in the air, on the land, and at sea.
Right. Now let's take a look at this, which just happened. This multiple drone attacks destroy 6 aircraft and damage 8 at the Morozovsk airfield on Friday. That's 1,200 kilometers deep into Russian territory. It looks like, who knows, maybe Ukraine doesn't need an air force to destroy the Russian air force. Maybe it just needs a drone force.
Well, you know, this is very, you know, it would be funny if it would be a war. It's a drone with the music that's playing. It's like Apocalypse Now when they turn Wagner, you know, the Ride of the Valkyries. And no, they need Air Force. They need Air Force as anti-missile defenses, because the Ukrainian skies are not closed. Russians are firing missiles at the hospitals, at the infrastructure, at the facilities that are provide water, heating, and electricity, and they're destroying this network of the utilities. Right. So that is creating a huge problem. They're firing on the dams, which is equivalent to a nuclear attack, because the environmental and human disaster that it could cause is just immense. If all those dams will blow up in Ukraine, it'll be worse than a nuclear, I think, attack. So they need Air Force. They need Air Force very badly to provide protection of their skies, that the drones will not be able to do that. Right. You know, we're coming up now with this 6th generation airplanes, or 7th generation aircraft that will be unmanned and manned, so it will function as both. You can put a pilot there that will fly and do whatever it needs to do, or it can fly by itself and conduct the mission. Right.
So well, the F-16s, hopefully the F-16s bring some relief in the near term until we get to those newer generations.
And just to add one thing, it's just recently the Ukrainians were able to repel a Russian armor attack, a whole battalion, 31 tanks and armor personnel carriers, and they've destroyed them with drones and javelins and Stugnas, and they just killed them.
Well, look at this. Let's take a look at this next one we have. We have a few of these. This is also blowing my mind. This is a hexcopter that's actually used for putting pesticides on farmers' fields. It can carry quite a payload, and the Ukrainians have outfitted it with heavy machine gun and RPGs. And of course, in this footage here that we see right now, this is captured from a Russian drone showing this hexcopter in action. The innovation seems endless almost. I'm wondering where this stops because we keep seeing these. We also see these self-propelled tracked mini drones that are deployed along the front lines, the zero line of contact in the trenches with explosives and whatnot, as well as I've seen these automatic machine guns on turrets, which are remotely controlled. Is this the future of warfare?
No, that's absolutely, it's a future. Well, it's not a future, it's a warfare of today. Already, the future is here. The problem that there is no deficit or shortage of innovation and ingenuity in Ukraine by the very, very bright people who can do this. The problem is not the quality, but the quantity. They cannot produce that in mass production. So the Russians can. Russians have way more. A year ago, Russians had less drones than the Ukrainians. Now they have way, way more. And the Ukrainians are saying that they can't really lift their head up because there's constantly in the air thousands of those drones are flying, and they can't suppress them or spoof them because they don't have enough equipment. Yet that equipment exists in Ukraine. It's just a matter of production. Just a matter of investment in it, and the military industry to create that. And I don't understand why we in the West cannot help to do that.
Right. I've spent a significant amount of time in Ukraine since the full-scale invasion, and I've talked with many soldiers about this. And there's some of them that I keep in touch with right now say that actually the leading cause of death right now is along the front lines, is getting to the front lines and not being attacked by FPV drones in your car. I want to show now on a sadder note the attack from this last week on Thursday in Kharkiv. What appears to be a double tap strike by drones, Shahed drones most likely. So let's take a look.
Все. Сюда, сюда, сюда. Ложи!
Now those strikes killed first responders and injured several people. Absolutely terrifying what we're seeing there. And that goes exactly to your point that Ukraine needs to, well, if it's developed these electronic warfare systems that are able to jam the drones and take, or even take over their signal, right? They need to be deployed in large numbers.
They have them. They have. It's just a matter of numbers and timing of the production. I was just in Kharkiv, and I'm going back there in a couple of days. Yeah, it is absolutely horrible that the beautiful city that I remind people has in during World War II changed hands between Soviets and Germans 6 times, and the destruction was not anywhere nearly as it is now of that city. Unfortunately, it's so close to the Russian border that they don't have time to intercept many missiles and Shaheds. So the Russians could continue to destruct the city and destroy it. The people are being evacuated from there, and the defense of Kharkiv is utmost. But I have to applaud and say a few things about the municipal workers of Kharkiv, because I see them responding to those things very quickly. If the heat is off, they fix it very quickly. Electricity off, they fix it quickly. They get it back online very, very quickly. But the Russians are now starting to conduct a terrorist type of advance. So they fire first, then the responders come there, the municipal workers come there to fix things and to get it back online, and then they fire on them and kill those people. So it is definitely terrorist tactics. It is terrible. It is terrible.
Yes. Well, with that, sir, Yuri Tabach, retired Navy captain, thank you very much for joining us and discussing this important topic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And that's all the time we have on Ukraine this week. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again on next Saturday. See you then. Goodbye.